So I said,
but it sounded, I guess it's like a little.
Here to take this all summer on this for this year. We're talking about 2 minutes short. We're not going to have our work. Everything goes 2 minutes short. That's been University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. With employees of Panthers basketball, Scott Lewis.
There we are. Network at MKPanthers.com. That's the first time I hit the wrong button all year. Had a perfect game going until the second to last Lundy basketball show of the year. That's right, it is a Monday night, so we are here inside the Gas House in the lower level of the UWM Student Union. Newly renovated and good to have everybody here. T-Bus 1 is T-Bus 1 is assembled. Coming up on the show here, we'll spend just a couple of minutes talking about the week that was and spend a little more time talking about the week to come. Next Monday at this time, we'll be talking conference tournament. As don't try to figure out the seedings right now, you'll just get a headache. It's just your eyes will get crossed. But a week from now, it'll all be clear. It'll all be clarified. And we'll talk a little bit about Oakland on Thursday. Coach Campion Company's coming to town. And then Saturday, Senior Day, Detroit Mercy, the regular season finale for the Panthers. In between, we're going to talk the business of basketball a little bit. I'll just call it generically that. Assistant coach and general manager Mike Winans will join us. And we're going to talk scheduling. We're going to talk NIL. We'll talk about some of the numbers, some of the terminology that everybody hears this time of year. And you're going, well, what is Ken Palm? What is the net rating? It's a quad 1, what's a quad 2, and there's nobody better to talk about that than Mike. So he'll join us, he'll be our guest here tonight. That is the way things line up. Stick with us. We will get underway with the 8th edition of the Bart Lundy Basketball Show from the Gas House. Back inside the Gas House. It is the last Monday of February. Things continue to fly by, Coach. I feel, tell me if you agree or disagree, I once we get past the holiday season, and I know you guys are grinding, does it feel like January and February still go fast? Once we get through the holidays?
Yeah, it's, I can't believe it's over now. It was like you wake up and 2 games that week are over, and you're kind of circling back and doing the same thing over and over again. And it is fast. It is very fast. Does my mind go?
Yeah, I got you here. Let's talk about the week that was for just a second here. Friday night, national TV, Youngstown State, the Beakley Center, and the football team. They were in full throat, in full force. How did that venue, and we've talked about some of the hostile environments you've been in your career, how did that one rank? I mean, as far as this conference goes, that's right out there.
That's by far the best in the league.
Yeah.
And it was loud and packed, but the whole town came out. From my hotel room, I could see whatever the biggest building in Youngstown is. And
I think it's a 7-Eleven.
yeah. Well, the 7-Eleven lit up in red. It was blue the night before, so I don't know what that means, but it was red, and the entire town, the entire city was felt like it was in attendance. So, but a great environment, really passionate fans, and obviously the football team right behind us, threatening our lives constantly, but it was fun. It was a fun place to play.
The way your guys performed in that atmosphere, it says something about the potential. When you're put on the road in hostile environments, what they can do. And I think it was Demas even said it to me in the postgame show. He relished that opportunity and to be there and kind of rise to that moment. It says something certainly about the pedigree of those guys, and to be in those environments when others, wilt or whatnot, they go up a notch.
Yeah, we were really good on Friday night. AJ was exceptional, especially in that first half when we needed it. And we ended up, we're done with road games in the league.
Right.
We ended up 6-4, so we've been able to do good work on the road. Winning any college basketball game on the road is really hard. Really hard. So it was a good one on Friday night. Gave us a chance on yesterday to have a big matchup, which I'm sure you're going to get to. So it's hard for me to have the joy that maybe I had a little bit on Friday night, but it was a really good win in a hostile environment, and I personally felt like that was going to propel us forward to Sunday, so we can.
So thoughts on yesterday? I mean, because you're right. You twice now in your 3 years, you guys put together a winning conference road record, which is hard to do, especially the way that this conference has shown with parity and whatnot, and every night is just a grind and a battle. But to yesterday in and of itself, just your thoughts maybe after 24 hours or so to kind of reset and look at things again.
Yeah, I just thought we played uncharacteristic offensive basketball. We took shots that we hadn't been taking, and the frustration, we missed bunny after bunny, and the frustration we had on the offensive end, and give Robert Morris credit, they have a lot of length in there, and extremely athletic, large, quick, but the offensive frustration, and you can see it going back watching on film, bled over to the defensive end. And when you're on the road like that, and that much is at stake, it only takes a short period, for things to get sideways, and now you're playing from behind. And they're a bad team to play from behind on, because they can score threes, they score in different ways. They've got a go-to guy in Fulgaris. So it's a hard team to come back on. And they're the hottest team really in college basketball right now, and we're on their home floor, so it was going to take a big effort. But I think to a person, staff, players, we were very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, look, to that last point you made about the quality of Robert Morris right now. I mean, they're a 2-point loss at Wright State, in the last couple seconds away from running a 13-game winning streak right now, just to the point of saying, you know, how well they were playing right now. I know we talked about this in the pregame show yesterday. I know you and Coach Toole, and I guess I really didn't realize this until we talked yesterday. You and Coach Toole go back quite a ways. I know there's mutual respect there between those of you.
Yeah, my then associate head coach, Grant Leonard, and Coach Toole, when they were very young, worked, it's called Eastern, I forget the name of the camp, but it's an exposure camp that college coaches, young college coaches used to always work. And they worked together for years and got to know each other. And then I would have a coaches clinic every August, and I would kind of cherry pick up coaches that I wanted in the room that day. So it was a learning opportunity for me. And Coach Toole came several times to that clinic. And so yeah, known him for a long time, got a lot of respect for him. And he's got our number. I mean, they haven't been the best team. They're obviously really good right now. They haven't been high in the conference rankings in the last 2 years. But we have a losing record against them. And so I think I have to study, you know, what are they doing to us? You and I have talked about it. That Youngstown game that you get so hyped up, and then we played there after that. And it's a fast turnaround. And the league has it that way every year, so I think that has hurt us.
Is that going to change at some point?
I hope so.
Yeah, Robert Morris has been the Saturday to Thursday or the Sunday to Friday. At least, this is their 5th year in the league? Yeah. And the first year was the COVID year, so we didn't travel, they played one game all year. So yeah, I mean, in the last 4 years, that has been the trip. At Youngstown, and then less than 48 hours later at Robert Morris, which has an impact.
Yeah, and they're even when they haven't been good, they've been really good at home.
Yeah, their splits, I imagine, are.
Oh yeah, they make 3 more threes a game at home. They're just way better. Way better at home. Our missed opportunity was here. You know, we shouldn't have lost that game here, and they beat us yesterday. You know, our guys played really hard. We were ready to play. We played really hard. We just didn't play well. At home, after we played really well against Youngstown, we did not play hard and got behind and shouldn't have lost that game at home. And that's going to probably end up costing us the league. You know, we've talked all along that 15-5 was going to win the league. 15-5 is going to win the league.
Here we are.
And we're 6-4 on the road, and we got to split. We got to split 5-5. We got to win half of our road games, win all of our home games. We dropped 2 home games so far, and we only made up 1 on the road. So we needed this Robert Morris to go 7-3 to make up 2 games to get to 15-5. And mathematically, they can lose, and we can win out, and we have some kind of tie for first. But yeah, it's, you know, we got to stop missing these opportunities. You know, we're trying to. But at the same time, like, if you're going to be resilient, if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be a really good program, you're going to have setbacks along the way. And we're not going to cry over spilled milk. They beat us, and we got to figure out where's the next breakthrough. And you put one foot in front of the other, you get up, you show up the next day, and you keep going. And that's what we'll do.
To your credit, I mean, you guys have not lost consecutive conference games. You haven't. So if you've had a setback, boom, you're coming back a day or 2 later or a week later, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, we talked in the locker room about, you know, we handle adversity really well. You know, to your point. What we haven't handled well is success. You know, we start to play really well, and then we have these games where, you know, who is this team on the court? You know, and they get kind of sideways with each other at times in weird kind of ways. But you know, it is smoothing out, and it's smoothing out at the right time. But maybe this loss is what we needed going to the most important time of the year.
Yeah. Absolutely, because there's just 2 games left. Like I said in the open, you've got more important things like preparing for Oakland, which is very difficult and a really good team, and they're playing really well right now. Is there somebody in the office that is digging through standings and figuring, okay, this has to happen, then this and that and that? I mean, is there somebody that you can, hey, can you figure this stuff out while I go over here and get ready to beat Oakland?
Yeah, I mean, Mike's always on top of it. You know, Jake, Coop, Will, they all know what it is. They all know who everybody's got left to play. You know, there's even a little thing that somebody finds on the internet and sends. It's got percentages of what we, what percentage that we have that we're going to finish first. And,
Sure.
And I usually send that back to them and say, don't send this.
Fair.
None of that matters. None of that matters. It's not real analytics. It's just, Vegas predictions.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so with 2 games left in the regular season, and we will get to Oakland and to Detroit. And senior day in Detroit will be pretty special. I know that there's a host of guys who will be recognized and honored. But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the elements of basketball off the court and the business of what this is. Whether fans like it or not, college athletics is more business now than it's ever been. And it's not going to change anytime soon. And it's about acclimating to the new college landscape and the environment and how do you put yourself in the best position to succeed in this world that we are venturing into, one step at a time. So, Panthers General Manager Mike Winans will join us. We'll talk scheduling, we'll talk NIL, maybe some news, next year's MTE. There's a little bit of a tease. Anyway, we'll do that, a lot of good stuff coming up. Stay with us. The basketball show. Continuing on this Monday night, keep clapping because General Manager Mike Winans is here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
And you thought we wouldn't have you on the show this year.
No, you know what? A lot of kids grow up wanting to play in the Super Bowl or something like that. My dream is to be sitting here with you. So.
Wow. You need to dream higher. You need to dream higher. Can we start with something that I think every fan of this program and maybe most programs loves to talk about any time of year? February, September, July, doesn't matter, scheduling. And I know it's a dance that you have to do, you try to thread the needle, working with coach in terms of putting together, I'm talking a non-conference schedule, obviously, you've got 20 games that the HL provides, and then you got to fill the rest. I guess big picture, yeah, please, absolutely.
So I just want, while Mike's not here, I want people to realize and understand how important he is, how important he's been to me and this program since the day I stepped foot on campus. And I didn't know Mike at all. From day one, there are some people there are some people who sit in an office in a meeting and they listen to everything that has to happen, and then they wait for somebody to tell them what should happen and what part they should play in it. Mike listens to all that stuff, and then by the time that everybody else gets back to their office, sits down, opens their soda, looks at their phone, Mike's done half of it already, and nobody asked him to do it. And I always tell our staff, if you want more, you do what you're tasked to do at a high level, and then pick up something else that I don't tell you. But my plate is constantly full, and Mike is always taking stuff off of it, and without me prompting it. And to the point where this is going to sound sad because Mrs. Winans is sitting right back there.
Dr. Winans, in the house.
And literally, my life would come to a screeching halt if Mike didn't show up for a couple days. I would be just walking in circles, I think, as he tells me where I'm supposed to go and what's happening with the program and what time we're supposed to be places. And so I just want to show my appreciation to what he has done. And they are now expecting a new one. It's been a great, 34 months with you guys, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Coach. It's been an unbelievable time here in Milwaukee, and obviously I want to get into all the awesome stuff that we've done and how great you guys have been, building this program. But more than anything, just the opportunity to be involved in different areas of the program, learn new things, and acquire new skills and get better at my old stuff. I couldn't be more thankful to you, so thank you.
But there's something, and the dynamic, you need, and Coach, you put a staff together, you need good people. You need reliable people, trustworthy people.
Yeah.
They're going to do everything you just described that Mike does, and it's telling, and then we'll get into the schedule and some of the other stuff we're going to do, but it's telling that a new coach comes in. I mean, you could have cleaned house. I mean, thanks for your service, appreciate what you did for the last regime.
Yeah.
I need my people.
Yeah.
And the fact that you looked at who was available to you, who was still there, who could help you with the transition, and not just the transition, but here in year 3 in Mike's league, that speaks to the dynamic at play, and it's something that should not be overlooked.
Yeah, and that's hard because you come in, and there were some guys that obviously didn't get retained, and some of them didn't want to be retained, and some did. But it's hard because I leave Queens, and my top assistant there, associate head coach, gets the job. I've got to make sure that all folks that work for me there, we're taken care of. Michael Cooper obviously came with me, and then putting all that together. But it is a dance to try to find the right people. But from day one, Mike, if anybody that knows Mike, he's so unassuming, he's so just like what you heard, he's appreciative, and just amazing at his job, So he should be the CEO of some huge company. So I'm glad he's the CEO right now.
That's right.
Of ours.
That's right. To the scheduling piece, how do you guys thread the needle? I mean, I guess obviously questions for you, Mike, but you work with Coach. How do you just big picture as a mid-major program, a good mid-major program? I mean, I suppose 3-4 years ago, scheduling was probably easier because they say Milwaukee and they go, we'll plow them over by 25 points and we'll move on with our day. And suddenly now you have a championship caliber mid-major program, and maybe fans don't realize that now you got to knock harder on doors maybe than you even did before, right? So just kind of paint that landscape and how you try to balance it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a true collaborative process. Like, Coach and I sit down every year, and from the beginning, the emphasis on getting home games has been the most important thing and the number one priority. Scott, I brought visual aids here.
You did.
For
Wait till you
everyone.
see this. For those of you watching on
I just want to
YouTube.
show this
Look at
here. Home teams win 70% of the game. Doesn't matter what the game, what the level, Division I, home teams win 70% of the time, and that number is climbing even higher by the year. So this is a number I think actually from the last few years, but this year this number might be even higher than that. So our emphasis is always to try and get as many home games on that schedule as possible. Then second visual aid here. There's a few different types of games that we've got. So one that we always have to play are guarantee games. Those are those big money games that we go play, say at UCF or at Northern Iowa or Duquesne. There are home and home games where you'll sign up and you'll play a team maybe at our level, maybe slightly above, and maybe they'll come to Milwaukee first and then we'll have to go back to them next year. Neutral site games, like the one that we played at Fiserv this year, and other opportunities like that arise as, the business of college basketball grows greater. And then, like you said earlier, that Horizon League gives us 20 conference games. One of the biggest advantages that we've had is that Coach has been super flexible in helping us put together an MTE every year. So like last year, we had Portland State, St. Thomas, and Wofford come to Milwaukee. 2 years ago, we had 3 teams come to Milwaukee and play. So those are built-in home games. And, that really helps us gel at the beginning of the year. And that's something that we're looking to build every year. And the rules actually have been loosened a little bit recently. So it'll be, it won't be easy to get an MTE done every year, but certainly easier than.
How so? You said the rules loosen a little bit.
Yeah, so you're allowed as a team to play in the same event in multiple years in a row anymore. Or you weren't allowed to do that previously, now you are. We're talking about the name of the Cream City Challenge. We can actually keep that name now.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know if we're.
So that's why, sorry to interrupt, so that's why, 2 years, what was it, the Cream City?
Cream City Classic.
It was the Cream City Classic, and that's why this year was the Cream City Challenge, because the NCAA,
Yep.
because they spend time on doing things like this.
Very important rules.
Oh, very important, said you can't play in the same event.
Right. So we removed
So we
it,
changed the name
we moved it from the K to the arena.
and changed the venue.
And changed the name, completely different event.
Oh, the NCAA, everybody, but now you can.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
so that's changed, and then also teams from the same conference are allowed to compete in the same event. So, not that that's probably something we'd be interested in, but that's the second part of that ruling.
Cream City Challenge, might we see it again?
Yeah, we hope so.
Okay.
Now, we're playing with, should we keep the 3 teams? It's really difficult to get 3 teams. The reason we didn't have it the second year is because we couldn't fill the remaining teams. So we had Indiana State, we had Coach Schertz, and we had somebody else. But then, Indiana State's, we're sitting at, 20 wins, and they're sitting at 30 wins, and nobody wanted any part of that. And then finally, they had to pull out because they're like, you guys can't fill it, and then it all just fell apart. So the work Mike does is just brutal. I mean, it's brutal trying to get the schedule filled. And you're right, the better we get, it gets way harder, way harder.
Yeah, you're always trying to sell yourself to other teams and see, hopefully they've been paying attention to the great work that, coach and staff have been doing. But it's getting harder by the day as we'll go into the numbers and everything like that. But, it's my favorite part of the job, honestly, because I feel like we can, if we put it together the way coach wants it to be put together, we have the opportunity to do what he's best at and we're best at, and get to where we're at now, and on the verge of winning 20 games for the third consecutive year. So, I wanted to say this too. On the heels of student manager appreciation week, I just feel like everything operations related. I think if we are on our P's and Q's and doing the best that we can, I do feel like that has a small impact on the team playing on the floor too. So, I want to shout out my guys, Cooper, Billy, Gary, and the rest of the manager crew. They're a huge part of what we do, and couldn't do it without them.
Well, there's something said for the reputation of the program. And people think reputation, they think, well, how many wins do they have and whatnot. But there's more that goes into that. It's because the coaching community, we all know each other. It doesn't take long for word to travel. Hey, that Panther MTE, it's well run, it's well executed, good environment, good venue.
Yeah, I feel like we, from top to bottom, we've our reputation, nothing against whoever, the guys that were here before, but our reputation, like when the league wants to know the pulse of the league, they turn to us now, we have this group of managers and they're high level guys, and they wouldn't stick around unless our assistants were good. They put Coach Cooper a little bit, but they wouldn't stick around if they weren't being treated the right way. Our staff has been stable. I just think that we're doing things. We try to be professional, the most professional, and during the games, even with the referees. We don't always accomplish it, but it is a constant focus. But to be able to represent the university with class and dignity, and then obviously we want to win, but it all, to me, it all dovetails.
All right, Mike alluded to some of the numbers here, and I think there's something to be said for getting into some of the metrics. Some of the terminology, folks watch and listen and they're not sure, well, what is exactly does this or that or the other thing mean? And then to put the Panthers' success, for example, in the last 3 years, into the context of these terms of the net ranking of where Ken Palm has this program rated and ranked in various categories, to put this team in perspective, I think is worth it, and we will do that as we continue. Stick with us. The Bart Lundy basketball. Back inside the Bart Coach Mike Winans is our guest here. We'll have one more scheduled show next Monday. It'll be a tournament edition. So if you haven't come out here to the Guest House, please do so next Monday. We'll stream it for you as always. YouTube and Varsity Network, MKPanthers.com. Okay, Mike, I'm going to bring back schedule in a little bit here, but I want to get into some of the numbers. Some of the perspective, I think, is important as fans, and we realize we have many of you here who are diehards, but a lot of you watching at home, maybe just kind of on the periphery, to understand kind of where the Horizon League and where the Panthers sit big picture, when you look at the way that college basketball specifically is evolving, Mike, so why don't you start there?
Yeah, so first off, there's 364 Division I teams, and of those teams, 79 of those are in power conferences. So like the ACC, SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, and Big East. That's 79 teams right there. So immediately difficult to crack inside that 79 just based on the level of resources and things that those teams have. And another benefit that they have, I'm going a little off topic here, but once those teams get into conference play, we've talked about the net a little bit. Their net doesn't move because they play against each other. They've got these high net numbers, and the net just doesn't move. So that's an advantage that they have being part of those leagues. So even if they struggle, they're able to maintain a baseline of top 100. So a team that goes maybe 3-16 in the ACC might be able to maintain a baseline of around 110, 100 just based on who they're playing against every night. Whereas we can go on the road and win a game and drop in the net. The net is a metric that combines your record, strength of schedule, where the game is played, and the scoring margin in that game. So everyone's into the sports gambling and everything nowadays. It's not that. It's the metrics combining to showcase this team A versus team B on a neutral floor. How would they play? And then there's built-in metrics for home versus road and things like that. Doesn't take into consideration the date the game is played and the order the games are played. So all of these factors, every game is its own entity, essentially. It doesn't account for like, hey, we had to go to Youngstown State and then go play at Robert Morris 36 hours later. It doesn't account for that. They're all their individual entity, and I want to get into the numbers that we've accomplished in the past 3 years, but most specifically this year, just because they're remarkable, quite frankly.
So let me just read, so when we talk net, so you go record, obviously, strength of schedule, where the game was and scoring margin, but it doesn't, I guess I didn't realize that it doesn't take into account the when, I should say, not where, game location, but when it falls. That doesn't really.
What's incredible is if you look at our net right now, the actual database where all the information is, it'll tell you that we're 0-0 in quad one, and a month or two ago we were 0-2 in quad one, and that's because UCF and Northern Iowa dropped out of quad one, so those became quad two games. However, and what's good for us is when we played Akron in a neutral, they were actually a Q3. Since then, they moved up to Q2, and so now that's a Q2 win.
Could they slide back?
They could slide
Could
back.
UCF,
but
I don't know, win the Big 12
correct.
or something?
Yeah. So these are live living numbers, and it's funny. I listened to a podcast, and last year there was a day when North Carolina didn't play, and they picked up 2 quad one wins. So didn't play a game, and they picked up 2 quad one wins in their net. So it's funny how that works, but it is a very unbiased and fair metric that plays into your NCAA tournament seeding.
Okay, so to that point, when fans are following the Panthers or college basketball in general, net and then where your wins are in the different quadrants, those are, at least until they find maybe something that's even more fair and judicious, those are pretty tried and true right now, would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, they have what's called a team sheet for the NCAA tournament. So when you make the tournament, you've got there's 5 or 6 metrics overall. Net is probably the overriding factor, and then you've got wins above bubble. You've got the KPI, which is key performance indicator, which is basically like the net, but more numbers driven. And then you've got KenPom and Torvik are included as well.
What's Torvik?
Torvik
I've not even heard of
is another type of KenPom predictive metric. The thing about KenPom and Torvik is they're not predictive. They're exactly how are these teams right now on this given day.
Okay.
So those numbers change every day. So you win at Youngstown, we jump up 12 spots. If you drop one, then you might fall a few spots. So that's how that works.
You want to talk about where we are?
Yeah, I was gonna say, to put us in context that now that we know kind of the landscape of what these metrics are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what's really notable is this year for the first time, in program history, and the net was introduced in 2018, but we climbed all the way up to 107 in the net, which is quite frankly, it's something that does not happen at our level. And that's a number that's really hard to attain because you have to compete in high-level games and you have to win high-level games in order to get there. And so that was January 27th. Right now we are 130 in the net. With our entire team sheet, they have a live living team sheet database, and where we're at right now, we project it to be, if we were to make the NCAA tournament, between a 13 and a 14 seed. So this is a really good team, and obviously I'm a little biased, but from an unbiased perspective, this is a really, really good team, and we've got some more numbers we can get into.
Yeah, and just like you were talking before we went on air tonight, like thinking of recent memory. I mean, 13, 14 seeds, is that where Horizon League representatives have been in the NCAA tournament, at least recently?
Yeah, so the last couple of years, Oakland was a 14, and then previously we had Northern Kentucky was a 16, 3 years ago. Wright State was a 16, had to play in the playing game.
That's right, yeah.
So when we were at 107, we could have possibly, then you're looking 13 and 12, and the reason that's important is, you go 16-1, you have almost no chance to win. You go 12-5, and it's pick 'em, basically. It's a 50-50 chance to win, maybe a little less than that, but a really good chance to win an NCAA tournament game. And that's, what happened with Oakland, 14, if they're a 16 seed, they probably don't pull that upset. It's really important. And obviously Sunday was disappointing. We still have a chance that we could win the regular season, but to make the NIT, not only do you have to win your conference regular season, and if you don't get an NCAA tournament bid, but now they've attached that you have to be 130 or higher in the net. So probably, if it's not us, no team from the Horizon will go to the NIT because they won't be eligible. We were the only team that had a high enough net to make ourselves eligible for the NIT. So a lot was lost on Sunday.
And you've got a couple other items there, Mike, and I want you to hit on those because to put this Panthers team and this 3-year period in context compared to other teams in the country, but compare it if you could, and you've got some numbers there as it compares to other Panther programs, because a couple days ago, last week, we had the 20th anniversary of the Sweet 16 team, and trying to get back to that place again. And statistically, there are places where this team, this program, this year, they're right there in terms of caliber with that team statistically.
Yeah, I mean, not only that team, but some terrific teams and programs in the country currently. I want to note a few things, like this is statistically our best offense at UW-Milwaukee since 2011, and our best defense since 2012.
And that's efficiency.
That's efficiency.
Can you explain that?
Yes,
Efficiency.
I mean,
people see offense, defense, they think points per game, points allowed, and that's it. But there's more.
that's part of it.
Right.
There are things that go into that, like effective field goal percentage allowed, your turnover rates, things like that. So all those factors combined, it's been 15 years. I mean, I looked at that number 2011, that's when I graduated college. I was like, boy, that's 14, 15 years ago, holy cow. But yeah, it's a long time since the Milwaukee team has attained these numbers. And then Ken Palm's been around since.
Imagine if we actually made a shot.
Keep going, Mike.
Ken,
Keep going. Power through.
Ken Palm's been around since, I think, 1998. And we were at 124, right around when we were at 107 in the net. And that is the single highest ranking that Milwaukee has had since 2016. And then the only other time since that has been 2006. So what this team's accomplishing. I mean, you can't. I was gonna say you can't put a number. You can absolutely put a number on it, and they're really good. So a couple more graphics here I got for you. These are some pretty impressive logos you're going to see here, but you see your Panthers
It's
on top.
outstanding, by the way.
So rebounding margin, this is current, and at this pace, these numbers, as Coach says, are already kind of baked in. So right now we lead the country in rebounding margin, which means we get 10 more rebounds than our opponents every game, and it's a big margin for Coach. And something I want to hit on too is just the style that Coach has wanted to play since he's gotten here. We're finally able to start playing that, or we've been playing that style. Like we are physically imposing against teams. And then my last graphic here, Scott, fast break points. Well, we only had 4 yesterday, so unfortunately we dropped to second place. But these are big time tournament teams that you see on that. It's New Mexico, Michigan State, and Florida. A couple 2 seeds in there. But the Panthers are right there in terms of fast break points per game. It means we tilt the floor, man. So that's what we want to do, and the numbers play it out. So.
When you look, is there one particular, I'm going to put you both on the spot a little bit here. Mike, I'll ask you this first. Is there one particular stat? Because there's a lot of numbers here, whether it's a season stat or it's something that Ken Palm, that whatever. Is there one particular stat that maybe the morning after a game or the morning of a game, you'll go and look at, and maybe folks here or watching or listening, you'd recommend, you know what, that's one to keep an eye on because I always like to kind of go to that.
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go 2 ways with it. First, every game at timeouts, our manager Garrett Klein brings the stat sheets over, and there are times when me and Will always stand next to each other during timeouts. We look at our rebounding margin, just because it's been such an impressive factor this year. And there are moments in the game where it's kind of even, and then at the next time out, you see that number jump about 7 or 8, and you're like, boy, there we are. That's us. And then it's an immediate impact on what the scoreboard looks like. And there's a game this year against Northern Kentucky where we rebounded a higher percentage of available rebounds than any other team in the country for a specific game at 67%, which means 67% of the rebounds that were available, Milwaukee got. And teams don't do that, as evident by,
We missed 31 shots and got 21 of them back.
Yeah.
So there was not thousands of games, and that's a tribute to our guys.
Yeah.
I will tell you that this team is not quite built the way that our system wants to be. The fast break points are really important. Rebound numbers, especially those offensive rebounding numbers, are what we emphasize as one of our margins. Where we are not where we want to be is we want a team that can make 300 threes in a year. And obviously this team has struggled in that area. Not only, I think we have good shooters, but when you add our passing to our shooters, it's not so good. That's, if we're going to get to the point where we're truly elite, we've got to be able to construct a roster that has, that can do these numbers and then be more proficient from 3. And when you get those 3 margins and you take care of the ball a bit better, which we kind of have been recently,
Yes.
and then you're cooking.
Is there, maybe it's the 3 ball, but is there one particular stat and metric? Because there's and there is so much. I mean, the data that is available to you all after at halftime, let alone after a game, compared to 5-10 years ago and beyond, obviously. It's amazing. But is there 1 or 2 things, Coach, that you really hone in on and maybe you'd recommend fans, keep an eye on that one? That's something I'm looking at.
Specific to our team, specific to this particular team,
Sure.
The things that I know that if we're doing these slots well, the turnovers that really, if we don't turn the ball over between our offensive rebounding and our ability to play fast, we're really hard to beat when we don't turn it over. And then Our defensive numbers are always effective field goal percentage, but this team has struggled a little bit at times. At times we're really good taking away the three, and at times, like yesterday, we overhelp. We play a little bit mindless defensively. And I told them after the game, you know, that I felt like a terrible coach because we're overhelping where we don't need to. We're underhelping where we needed to help a little bit. And those things maybe don't show up in the stat sheet, but they end up showing up on those 3-point numbers. And sometimes people just shoot it and they're contested. You know, we have a scale, Draymond's scale where we rate their, actually Coop does it, we rate every contest of the shot, and they can get some pretty ugly numbers if they're not contesting. But you can tell if we're playing mindless defensively. You can see it offensively, but you can tell if we're playing mindless basketball defensively if we're giving up a bunch of threes. So fans can relate to that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a time out. We have a short little segment maybe. We talk NIL. Can we talk NIL? Are you ready to talk NIL? We talk NIL? We sure. Yeah. Let me take a quick break. Stick with us more. Mike. Rolling forward back inside the Bart Lundy basketball show. That way you know we're back from commercial. I want to spend just a couple moments NIL. Okay? Name, image, likeness, the money of the sport. If you're cringing, if you don't like it, sorry, it's here to stay. It's time to adapt or die. Fans, I'm talking to you. So, we need to understand, if you can talk about where the Panthers are, NIL related, put it in comparison, put it in context compared to the conference. And now that we're a couple of years kind of into this new world of NIL, how do we sit, how do we look, and most importantly, and I think everybody here and watching and listening would agree, most importantly, how do we move this thing forward? How do we move this thing forward? I mean, it's important, obviously.
Well, I'll jump in and give you some context. So we play at Youngstown and at Robert Morris this week, and you know, it's league opponents and should be, you know, the same level, right? So the one thing that Robert Morris did that they didn't have last year is they made a concerted effort to raise a lot of NIL. And, you know, I don't want to tell their business, but Coach Toole's job's kind of on the line. You know, he needed to get that thing swung around. AD really helped them. They raised a lot of money. Youngstown has, since NIL came into being, has been by far the highest in our league. So to put it into context, we play those two teams who have roughly between them $1 million in NIL, right? And the Panthers roll in with 15% of it. And not to complain, you know, we're gonna compete, but you're right, you have to adapt or you die. And so that Robert Morris team that is likely gonna win the league, that is just a sliver behind Youngstown in NIL. And why do they have better players now? It's really simple. It's because they have more NIL money to spend. We have been very fortunate that we've got some guys who really like our style, who really like playing for the staff, like the school, like Milwaukee. All that does good things for us. So we're able to retain some guys. But you know, the reality is it is a new world, and you have to compete in that realm. Or you know, I could coach my brains out. Robert Morris is here to stay. They're going to be good because they're going to get really good players. And I don't know how Mike's knee deep in it too. You know, he and Joe really are, you know, kind of Joe Tucker really spearhead what our NIL. So
Yeah, I mean, it's no pun intended, a collective effort. Like everybody's involved in, you know, pulling their weight. But I do want to give a huge amount of credit to our coaching staff. And like, first of all, there are thousands of kids that we could recruit, and these guys go out every year and identify and build relationships with, and then convince these players to come to Milwaukee when they have dozens of other choices. So one, our ability to recruit those players, and then once they're here, it's amazing, and people don't understand this, the amount of outside forces that are at play with these guys, trying to pull them from Milwaukee while they're here. And our guys, like Coach said, are so bought into what we're doing here and the success that we're having that they turn the other cheek, or you know, whatever the word is there, but they want to stay, you know, and we don't have right now the money that some other teams in our league have, but we're competing. We're competing with them without, you know, having to worry about that. And recruiting and retention, I just think that is something that is goes you know, unnoticed about our staff, that we do better than anybody else. I mean, we identify who we want, we go get them, and then we keep them here. And it's important. And obviously there are the few that are so high level that you can't you know, you can't turn down $700,000. You can't do that. But you know, the ones that are still here, year over year, you know, it's impressive that we've been able to do something like this. Kudos to the staff, honestly.
Okay, yeah, we have a couple minutes here, just left. So then the biggest question is, for folks who are watching, folks who are listening, okay, how do I help? What do I do? I want to do something. Who do I contact? Because I know there are rules and regulations, as much as the NCAA has any rules or regulations or anything, about the channels through which you go. And you want to make sure everything's done right and proper and whatnot. So like, what do we need to do? What should we do? How do we do it?
Mike can give them the information of
Sure.
how to do it. But what I would say is, if you're a Panther fan, or you want to see the university put front and center through the basketball program, it's the reason we exist, right? To promote this university.
Front porch of the university.
Front porch, and we need the help. And we need people to buy into this and help us. And you know, it's great to go on Twitter and you know, or social media and you know, thumbs up and like things and. But you might not have the money yourself, but you know a business that might help us. You know a person that is a grad that you can put us on the, you know, hey, I think this person would help the guys, because right now it's just our hustle. It's our hustle. You know, a golf tournament, we're gonna do a postseason banquet. We might do a damn dance for couples. I don't know. But it's our hustle. It's our hustle, and that's how this is happening. So we we need, the 100,000 grads that are in this area to, to help. And, Mike can tell them how to help, but, don't criticize the team if you're not helping in this area. That's what I would say. Don't criticize the team if you're not helping in this area. And if we have the resources, we're gonna win. We're gonna win with what we have. That's what we do. We make it work, and we'll find the players and we'll make it work. But if you want this to be, if you want those Sweet 16 runs, this is gonna have to happen at a higher level, and we need people to network and help us, and everyone can help.
Well, and you think about it, forever, college basketball fans I buy my ticket, and I go to the game, and I watch, and I wish there was something more you could, well, my God, now is the time where you can actually do something. You can contribute financially to a college basketball program and actually help win.
Yeah.
Because it helps with the NIL, which helps attract better players, and better players means better odds of winning at a higher level. So now is actually an era for all the griping, and these are my words, for all the griping and moaning of people who don't like the way college athletics is going. Well, my God, guess what? It changed, and now you have an opportunity to make an impact yourself instead of just sitting there and cheering and then going into your car and going home. So, Mike, how do they help?
Well, first of all, I'm open to having any and all conversations with anyone that thinks that they might have a connection that might be able to help. Second of all, I wouldn't be
QR code. Let me hold it.
if I didn't have a QR code ready and available for you to go to pantherfuturefund.com and donate today. We need your help, so please reach out to me, and I'm ready to have any conversation with you and see how we can help the Panthers.
And your phone number, email, all that stuff is at mkpanthers.com. And you can find it. I mean, seriously, if you have questions, like people are watching and listening or whatever, tell me more about this or that. I know you'll meet with them and kind of talk it all over.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thanks for doing this, Mike.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Let's take a quick short break, Coach. We just got a minute break. We'll come back. We'll talk just a little bit of Campy and Company are coming, and then Detroit on Senior Day. Stick with us. One more time. Okay, final segment. Here we go. We're running a little long, but last segment of the show, and Coach, in just a couple moments here. 2 games left in the regular season. The defending champs, Oakland Golden Grizzlies, Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Coming off a big come from behind overtime win yesterday against Cleveland State to knock the Vikings out first. And Coach Campy and Company coming to town. I know you guys have revenge on your minds from a game early in January, and they're always a tough matchup.
Yeah, the zone is, gives us fits, and they have the horses on the post. You have to make a decision. Are you going to play them straight up, or are you going to double them? And we played them straight up in that first game, and they really took it to us. So we've got to figure out, how do we go, get help on those guys, because we didn't have the manpower to really keep them away from it. We took away the threes, but I think it was frustrating for us to really get beat up like that. So we got to figure out. Coach Campy's doing a great job, as he always does. I texted him with him yesterday or last night. He just we just became the all-time wins leader in the conference. So you know, he'll have them ready to play. You know, I think so many people had this game circled on the calendar, them and us, because of last year's championship. Probably neither of us are exactly where we want to be at this moment, but it doesn't take away from the magnitude of the game and how both teams are going to be ready to win. They're trying to catch us, and we're trying to keep our spot and catch other people.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, it's still mathematically alive for a piece of the regular season title, but the top four, and I don't mean to minimize the regular season championship, but once you get past, you know, the enjoyment of the championship, whether you're a 1, a 2, or 3, or 4, the way the tournament is set up, there's really no difference other than you're wearing your home jerseys in Indianapolis, should you get there. So there's a lot on the line. And then I'll just mention Saturday at 3 o'clock, senior day as well.
Yeah.
I know you've got Themis, KP, AJ, Eric, Faison, Duff, and then Garrett Klein, one of the managers, will be honored in a pregame ceremony, so be sure to get there early. It's always special stuff, right?
Yeah, senior day, it's hard to see those guys maybe go, maybe not go, but we're going to honor them either way. Today's age, you never know how many years you have left. And, we will honor them, and we know for sure Garrett's eligibility is up. So.
Garrett, for sure, his final regular season home game. All right, Panthers in Oakland Thursday at 7, and then Saturday at 3 o'clock. Tickets available at mkpanthers.com, 414-229-5886. Coach, best of skill here in the final week, and thanks as always. We'll do it again next Monday, okay?
Thank you, Steph.
Thanks to Mike Winans.